Hi everyone, I'm Andrew Van Leeuwen. This is Stefan Bartholomeus and we are in Bathurst to preview the 2025 Bathurst 1000. This preview is brought to you by the Ford Ranger. It takes you and a Ranger. Stefan, as I said, we are actually in Bathurst. We're on the ground. It's the Tuesday evening before the great race. It's just always good to be in Bathurst, right?
Always so much going on in race week. We're at the Fan Fest right now, which is a new initiative for 2025. And then, plenty more tomorrow before the cars hit the track on Thursday.
Now, it's been a pretty newsy start to the Bathurst week. We had a retirement announcement today, a little bit unexpected, I guess, although Nick Percat leaving Matt Stone Racing, we saw that one coming, but leaving full-time Supercars driving altogether, a little less expected.
Yeah, there's certainly been some talk for some time that maybe things aren't all that happy there in the Matt Stone Racing camp with Nick Percat. So I think that the good thing here is that he has been able to get this out before the great race. He can go into his final few events in the back part of the season, really knowing that it is his last and really enjoying it for what it is, because he's a guy, obviously he won Bathurst all the way back in 2011 and has had some great results along the journey, so he deserves to be celebrated on the way out.
We know that he was pushing to get that contract release done. He was actually contracted for another 2 seasons, so he could kind of go out on his own terms. I mean, he did very seriously look at walking away from full-time racing when he left Walkinshaw Andretti United at the end of 2023. He has other stuff going on in his life, like his karting team, J&D Racing. So I guess he does have that other focus to sort of soften the blow of walking away from full-time Supercars racing.
Yeah, for sure. But whenever you end the full-time journey, it's a pretty big moment. So it has been unusual that it wasn't too long ago, midway through last year, he'd won a couple of races early with Matt Stones, signed that contract extension, which was meant to take him through another couple of seasons. But things change pretty quickly in this game, as we know, and this is going to be the end of the line for Nick on a full-time basis. He did mention in his announcement that he wants to co-drive in the future, so I reckon he'd be a pretty handy pickup for someone for the next couple of years.
Absolutely, that is the case. Now let's talk a bit of Parity, because it's Bathurst week. We have to talk about Parity. That's just how it is in the Gen 3 era. There has been the barometric dyno testing for the engines going on very recently into this week, we believe. What are you sort of hearing about what outcomes there might be, and if there are any potential changes to the engine package like we saw with the aero package before the bend?
Yeah, well, as of talking right now, we haven't had anything official from Supercars on whether they are going to act off the back of that. But what we're sort of hearing is there's probably not going to be any change for this weekend based on the results of that testing, and also a lot of other information that they have as well. They've had torque sensors on the cars here in previous test runs they've done at the Bathurst 12 hour in particular. So Supercars seems pretty comfortable that that element of it is under control. Obviously the Ford's got the aerodynamic change for the last round at the bend, which took a bit of drag off the cars, shifted the aero balance, and then they also got the shift cut sort of compensation as well. So we saw Ford sweep the podium there. A little bit circumstantial maybe, because 888 had a real shocker, but yeah, the big question is whether they're going to be competitive here at Mount Panorama.
All right, well, with that big question, let's go ahead and foolishly try and predict who is actually going to do well this weekend and who's not. I've got to say, between Brock Feeney's qualifying pace and the fact that I reckon Jamie Whincup will want a nice, clean few stints to kind of put a few of those rough edges behind him that we saw at the bend, I reckon that 88 is going to be hard to beat this weekend. What are you thinking in terms of your favourite for the great race?
Well, it's funny sort of thinking of that team and that entry, and sort of talking about Jamie as a little bit of a question mark. Like he's the greatest of all time, but obviously he had a rough one at the bend with that incident in practice where he'd run into the back of his teammate Scott Pye and then sort of fell off the road in the race. But that was only after they had a refueling issue that took them totally out of contention. So yeah, you would think Brock Feeney, the form he's been in this year, that he would be a pretty good shout for pole position. And we're going to see that that track position between teammates be important again this year now that double stacking's back with the safety car rule changes. So yeah, the 88 should be hard to beat, but boy, if these Fords are competitive on race day, that puts a lot of other cars in play, right? So, you know, Dick Johnson Racing, obviously Todd Hazelwood, co-driving with Brodie Kostecki, won last year at Erebus. They've done a lot of media, those guys, in the last few days as the reigning champions, but they've got to be a big chance. A lot of people talking up Cam Waters and Mark Winterbottom at Tickford. It'd be cool to see Cam finally get it done. but that's then without going into the Grove pairing and the Walkinshaw guys who have 2 really good cars. So, yeah, it's really open at the top of the field, I reckon.
You've done a great job of hedging your bets there, Stefan. That's really good. We do have this other kind of storyline to follow through the great race on Sunday, and that's the fight for the finals. There's still, I think, 3 positions there at the back end of the top 10 that are really up for grabs. I'm going to say if I had to pick someone who's currently outside the top 10 and could get in the top 10 by this Sunday evening, I just have to go with Nick Percat. Like a Nick Percat with a point to prove off the back of this retirement announcement at a track where experience means so much. I reckon he could be the fly in the ointment for some of the guys in the 10 right now.
Yeah, and the other key there is he's got Tim Slade co-driving with him, who's only a first year out of full-time and was very, very impressive at the Bend, as you would expect. So that's a great combination. And when you look at some of those other guys that are there just either just in the 10 or just outside, they kind of are the second car on the boom for like Thomas Randall at Tickford, Kai Allen at Groves, a couple of those guys. So that could be where if Nick Percat can out-qualify his teammate Cam Hill, who is also in the finals conversation, he could have a real benefit there if there is a bit of double stacking.
Well, I reckon we should go and enjoy the festivities here at the Fan Fest. So stay tuned to Speedcafe all through this week, all through the weekend for all of the news, reaction, analysis, everything you need to know about what should be a blockbuster 2025 Bathurst 1000.